I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima and the lovely Robyn LaVassaur, and we're doing our monthly podcast for loan officers today. Now, usually we have our little compadre, Jimmy Reed, but he decided to go off and buy a house and is moving today. So we're like, hey, we're so busy, we can't reschedule around you. We're doing it without you. So today we're talking about why are you not making the call? So some context to this. I started calling some loan officers in my company that are doing really well in this market. And when I don't know when I want to know what's going on, I just do investigation. I just become more curious. So I talked to one this morning. He's a loan officer now for 3 months. He went through a program that I teach on how to become a loan officer. So he goes to work for one of our branches in Georgia, and he originated 10 loans his second month in the business. This is his third month in the business. I just happened to look at the production report yesterday, and he originated 5 loans last week. So I called him this morning, and I was like, what are you doing, buddy? You're lighting the world on fire. And he proceeds to tell me, boss, I'm running the playbook. I'm trying to find the text that he sent me before I talked to him. He basically said, don't miss your face-to-faces every day. That's the number one thing I'm doing. I'm going to 4 open houses every weekend, just like your playbook says, no matter what. And then he says something interesting. He says, I'm being very transparent and forthright with everyone right off the bat. In other words, he's speaking to people very directly, which is a great influential technique that a lot of people struggle with. So there's someone doing really well. There's lots of examples of that. I think the bottom line is that there's a little bit of I call it COVID hangover, where everyone wants to sit in their desk and drink coffee and do Zooms. Here's the problem. There's a reason that I've got to go see my parents 4 times a year. I talk to them every week on the phone. However, if I don't see them for 3 months, about the 3-month mark, this is what I hear on Sunday morning. Hey, so when you coming up? Like, we miss you, and right? And what I want to say is I'm super busy. What I want to say is, hey, we had a track meet this weekend, we couldn't make it, whatever. The point of it is humans are emotional creatures. And so as a salesperson, you want to play the point game. The point game is a Zoom or a phone call is worth 1 point. A face-to-face is worth 10 points. I should make a caveat, face-to-face with the right target market. So it's not face-to-face with people who can't send you business. So the magic number is 2 a day. That's the magic number. Go out in the field, see 2 people a day. If you don't have preset appointments, go to a builder, walk in a real estate office, go to a small real estate office, just make some calls, right? And then come back and take a loan out at 3 o'clock, right? That's the perfect system. You'll meet with eventually 20 home buyers a month, close 10 loans. So that's simple math. I want to tell you what I think is at the root, and then Robyn, I want you to take it. So I came up with this story years ago. This is actually a Todd original. I don't have very many original thoughts, but this was one. I was talking years ago, and I came up with this story. I told the audience, hey, shut your eyes. Now, if you're driving right now, don't shut your eyes. Yeah. But I told people, hey, shut your eyes. I said, I want you to imagine everything I'm going to say for the next 2 minutes is real. So I am a doctor, and I just got FDA approval for a cancer pill. And anyone takes one cancer pill, and whatever kind of cancer you have in your body is gone. You are my salespeople. There was about 50 people in the room. I said, you're my salespeople for the world. We're going to sell the pill for $10,000 a piece. Your commission is $2,000 per pill. Now, this is just a made-up story, but I'm going somewhere. If I were to say, hey, Robyn, you just went through this training today. We're the only one. We've got a 7-year patent on this. We're going to save babies. We're going to save moms. We're going to save grandmas. We're going to save fathers. So she's like, right? I said, I need you to get on a plane and go to LA tomorrow, speak at this convention in front of 2,000 doctors. And, announce this pill and how it works and how to get access to it. Even if you're not a great public speaker, which you happen to be, but let's say you're not, would you struggle to announce that pill in front of 2,000 doctors?
No.
Why?
Because I know it'll change someone's life.
So the moral to the story is, and I know this hurts when I say it, I believe that people don't make sales calls because they don't feel valuable. And that story illustrates that. So in logic class, they teach you to take anything to an extreme, and if it makes sense in an extreme level, it's true. So if you really could solve cancer, you wouldn't struggle to sell 1 million pills. And now, personally, you would be a billionaire. So there's that. But our industry has that.
Yeah.
Right? You're a loan officer, make $3,500 a loan, do 10 a month, you're making 33 grand. I mean, life is good.
Yeah.
That's a really high income.
Yeah.
So our business has that. What we don't have is we don't know how to add value. We don't know how to be valuable to people in a very specific way. And so we don't sell. That's my theory on all that. So now you let it rip.
Yeah, well, I think that I actually think the root of all of it, you're 100% right, is the worthiness, the value around believing that you have something to offer, that you're not just trying to get something from somebody, right? And so people have a hard time determining their own value, right? And they can shy away from it in many different ways, but it's interesting when we can dissect it with a branch manager, with a loan officer. We get there where they actually understand, okay, I do have value here. I think a couple things. One, people don't make calls because they're not prepared. That's one of the, if I started with very simple tactics on this, I would tell people, you're not making calls because you don't even know who to call right now, right? Like, you're not prepared. If you're not prepared at all, it's literally like saying, I'm going to go to the gym in the morning, but not having one idea of what you were going to do at the gym, not having your clothes laid out, right? Like, literally having zero prep and plan. What's the likelihood? You didn't even set an alarm, but you plan on going before work. What's the likelihood that you're going to get up and go?
Low.
Really low, right? And so preparation is a key, but it's not everything on this, because you can't just dial, right? When you think about making calls, that's what leads to those face-to-faces, right? That's what leads to the opportunity to, teach 2,000 people in a room about a pill that cures cancer, if you will. But you got to make the phone calls to start. And Todd, I was, even in our sales force, and I really believe that we have some of the best people, and I look at them and go, man, you're an incredible loan officer. I know that just from talking to you. You understand loans, you're honest, you're transparent, you're strategic, you're a good partner to your realtors, you save them time, you help make them money. Why don't you edify that within yourself, right? Why don't you understand it? And then if you do understand it, why are you not bursting at the seams to share it with the industry? Why are you waiting for somebody to find you? That's such a bizarre thing to me. Why do we wait? And so one, I think just being prepared, right? Then it's hey, do I know what I'm going to say? And like you said, on the extremes, let's talk about the most extreme thing that could happen if you truly made a cold call.
You could hang up.
They hang up on you? That probably would feel the worst. Not interested, click. How long does that pain last?
Yeah, a second.
A second? And then nothing else was affected. Okay, your loss, right? Not interested, your loss. I was about to tell you something really great, right? Okay, your loss. Second thing would be, hey, the common objections on a phone call. So if you're thinking about dialing realtors, which is really still the baseline, the bloodline, if you will, of a great business in lending, right? Yes, past client database, yes, all of those things, but realtors are still the ultimate partner, if you will, in the business. If that's the case, what would they say? I already have a lender that I work with. I don't have time. All my buyers are cash. I only do listings. Maybe we can get together in the future. Like that. Okay. Are those probably the top 5? Even how long ago were you a loan officer, Todd?
You're killing me.
Yeah. What is that? 19? Oh, just kidding. So, but were those the same objections that you heard when you were a loan officer?
100%.
And so how many people do you think actually prepare to overcome that objection? Each one of those. Have any sort of preparation to it?
Most people, 0.
0. Which means for sure it's going to be more awkward and more scary in your mind, right? Because what narrative do you write when you're doing something that feels totally vulnerable and out of your comfort zone, new, if you will, fresh, all of those things? What narrative do you write? Do you write that it's going to be fantastic?
Going to be horrible.
It's going to be awful. And listen, I always tease Todd. Todd is actually not that feelings based. So for him, it's very pragmatic. If I make this number of phone calls, I would get this number of appointments. If I call the right people, say the right things, that number of appointments would lead to this many, right, opportunities of leads. And that many leads would lead to this many opportunities for contracts. And pretty soon we're making money. For Todd, it's a numbers game. That's why he says point systems and all of those things. Where I think he thinks I'm crazy, and anybody else who's potentially a little more high eye. Like I bet that the young man that you're talking to that is our new just absolute superstar, it's not emotional for him. It's a plan and he follows it, which probably says he's very on the disc profile?
D.
High D. High execution, right? Like just get in there and get it done over and over and over again. What is he probably a little lower on? Probably not too low, but lower on.
Lower I.
Lower I, right? What are you?
My D is 98 or 97. My I is 82.
So when you think about it, your D takes over and it can trump your I pretty quickly, right? Like it allows you to trump your I. When someone is even on that, or you're just an I in general, which is more of that touchy-feely in your head, or you add some S into that, oh, now all of a sudden we're down all these paths of worry and anxiety. And I mean, I talked to a gal this morning. She's literally, I met her 2 years ago. She didn't work at Summit at the time. And even when I met her 2 years ago, I thought, oh, this gal, she reminds me a lot of me. She was a processor for years. Like she knows loans. She's fun. She's funny. She's passionate. She's outwardly confident. All of the things are there. We're on the phone this morning. And I asked her point blank, Todd, are you making calls? What do you think her answer was?
No.
No. Why? It's awkward. What's awkward? Like, I don't know. I've just written this. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say to them. I don't know how they're going to respond. Written the narrative. I don't want to bug somebody. I don't want to, it's a new relationship. Like, they probably already have a lender. So she's going through all the things they might say back. And I said, and I don't want to be fake, is what she said. I don't want to be fake. And my response to her, and I would say this to every single one of you, then don't be. One of the greatest things that I ever did when I was afraid of cold calls was start calling people and saying, hey, it's taken me 3 weeks of staring at your name with your phone number next to it to get the courage up to finally make what I would consider a cold call to you. And Shut up. It's just the truth, right? And so when you talked about someone being really transparent, the truth is, you guys, when we try to pretend we're something we're not, when we try to pretend you're going to get on there and it's going to, it not be awkward, you're going to nail it, they're going to listen to you, they're going to be blown away, you're going to deliver the perfect speech without ums and ands and all these things, it's simply not true, which is why you don't even make the call, right? Like you're not prepared, you're writing something either that it's so scary or that it's got to be perfect and there's no in the middle. The easiest thing to ever do is to simply call. I've called somebody back before, Todd, no joke, and said, when they didn't answer because I bombed the first phone call, I have called them back on the second call and said, well, I'm not surprised you didn't answer. How awkward was our first conversation?
Right.
I bombed that. That shows you how nervous I am to actually try to get after your business because I'm so impressed with you. Like from a distance, I'm so impressed with you. However, I don't bomb on loans. I promise you that. So if you're willing to give me the time of day, like call me back, whatever it is, like, and I'm no worse off for the wear, right? Like having some fun with it. But we get so caught up in our own heads, and I see it. I think men do a better job of this, honestly, and that's why a lot of people in the industry, forgive the stereotype, would say it's a little more of a good old boys club. I think there's less emotion frequently around just making the calls.
Well, so to take this to the psychological world for a sec, because I think it's important to understand these things. I was on a walk this weekend, and Robyn, I know you're a fan of Mel Roberts, and I listened to a podcast where she was interviewed, and her basic story is her life was a mess and then she turned it around. And her famous thing was, and Robyn, correct me if I screw it up, but she would say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rocket ship, and get out of bed.
Yes.
Right? Instead of thinking about it. So she explained it very well because she did all this research about psychology. And if you study psychology, I heard one psychologist say it takes 3,000 years for the human brain to change. And so what she says in simple terms is like, we are trained to shy away from fear. We are trained to be safe. We are trained to not do dangerous.
Vulnerability. Mm-hmm.
Avoid vulnerability. But it's actually the opposite of that works. In other words, most humans, all of us, have this little shell around ourselves. Yeah. And it says, do not do this, do not do that. Example of this, I'm doing I took up a new sport. I'm not even going to say what it is. People think it's very dangerous. So I've told about 20 friends about it. I said, hey, I had my second lesson.
Told me.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But people think it's all 20 friends have said, that's super dangerous. Okay. So stick with me just for a second.
Okay.
My instructor has been instructing for 30 years. He is a ex-Navy SEAL. He was a Navy SEAL for 25 years, something like that. So really good professional.
Yeah.
He says, Todd, 101 people have died doing this sport in 30 years. 81 of them had a heart attack while doing the sport. So it had nothing to do with the sport.
Yeah.
They had a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah.
But when I talk to my 20 friends, they immediately say, I can't believe you're doing that. You're absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Because that's their emotion of safety. The truth is, it's safer than driving a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the psychology.
But the psychology.
Once I understood that, hey, I'm hardwired to diminish fear, all kinds of fear in my life. That's why someone stays in a relationship that sucks. Like, you ever wonder that? Like, why do you stay in this relationship that sucks? Because it's safer.
Fear of change.
Than going out on my own.
Yes. Yes. I think that at the end of the day, I asked a group of loan officers this last week, like, hey, raise your hand if you called realtors today. Now, mind you, this is hot off of the NAR. It's a Monday. And for most people, it was afternoon on the call. I'm not joking, Todd, when I say no hands went up. None. And I'm sitting there thinking, and I said, raise your hand if you're happy with your income last year and you're happy with your income so far this year and where your pipeline is at. Guess how many hands went up?
Zero.
And I thought, our goal is to be here, right? And instead we're here, right? Like waiting, sitting, hoping, like doing all these crazy things. And the truth is, if you just think, I'm going to have some fun with some calls, I'm going to spread the word. And I think the value proposition, I know that we're kind of at that time mark, but I just want to say this. For instance, I asked this loan officer / branch manager, hey, do you believe in your heart of hearts that you are good? And she said, yeah. I said, let's go through the list of why you're good at your job. We went through her loan knowledge, her ability to help people budget plan, her ability to communicate, the effort and energy she puts into not only a strategy now, but a 1 and a 5 year, the ability to help a client to say no if they don't need to do something, right? To advise them appropriately based on what they're doing. You are overbuying for your budget now that we've asked all these questions, right? You are putting yourself in a vulnerable position. What she adds value to real estate agents. I mean, literally all the things she does to add value to a real estate agent that once we could quantify it, Todd, and we made the list today, we validated that she for sure feels like she is responsible for at least 4 additional transactions a year to a realtor. Now, we went through average sales price, and that really equates to, let's call it still 3% across the board. That really equates to, on a $350,000 loan, 3%, how much money additional per year?
Over 40 grand.
Over 40,000. Now, if you could give somebody every year 40 additional $1,000, could you get up on stage and sell it to 2,000 people?
100%.
Same thing, right? And so I asked her, I said, why in the world would you deprive your real estate community of knowing that there's a lender out there that could for sure help them add $40,000 of revenue to their pocket every single year by working with you, and you want them to come find you?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Let me end with a cute story.
Okay.
Because this blew my head after I came home and thought about it. So my son, Zach, is 20 years old. He's in college, second year of college. He's been in the theater since he was 8 years old. He's really good at it. So he has a big play at college. And he says, Dad, you got to come down and see my play. So it won't tell me what it's about, nothing. So myself and my 18-year-old son, we fly down there. This is about 2-3 months ago. And we show up, don't see him beforehand because he's prepping for the play. He bursts on stage. And for the next 2.5 hours, he's one of 6 characters. He's the main character. He's the antithesis to 5 other characters. So he's the one causing all the trouble. He's plays a British painter who is traveling the world. So he's got a British accent.
Yeah.
Now forget about the 2.5 hours of lines.
Yeah.
And how animated he had to be in jokes, and he makes you cry at the end. I mean, he's so good. But just the British accent. Afterwards, I see him. I'm proud papa, right? I'm crying. And I said, Zach, how did you learn the British accent? Pay attention. He says, Dad, I got up 30 minutes every morning early for 9 weeks. And there's a YouTube channel that I followed, and it makes me practice out loud and teaches me how to say words. So I did it for 30 minutes every day for 9 weeks straight every day. Now, I don't know what the math is on that, but it's a lot of hours, right? Call it 20 hours, 15 hours, whatever it was. A couple days later, I'm back at work, and I'm thinking, here's a kid who, just for the love of doing it, just because he loves theater, learned a British accent over the course of 3 months and spent 30 minutes every day learning how to do that, and is getting no pay for it.
Okay.
But yet I can't get a loan officer to learn 2 or 3 scripts.
Yeah.
Or the 2-step close, which is a process on how to sell in person.
Yeah.
They would have to put roughly the same amount of time, and they would make literally $500,000-$700,000 a year
On repeat. Yeah.
Guys, I'm just telling you, that is such a disconnect for me. I can't tell you. It is such a disconnect why people wouldn't practice their trade, why they wouldn't write their scripts down, why they would rather be poor than rich.
Yeah.
Why they would rather be, sit and tremble in fear for an hour to call some friends rather than go out and have coffee and really, truly try and help people make money.
Wow.
And delve into their skill development and diminish their fear. I will probably go to my grave not understanding that. Because the only answer is emotion, negative emotion.
Yeah.
Well, look back. If you want to prove that I'm right, that life is meant to be on the skinny branches, think of the top 3 things that are great in your life. And most people would say, gosh, I got married. I had children. I took this leap to start this new career, something like that, right? All those three things, tons of fear. Like when you had your triplets, you weren't scared. Like, I mean, there's
to death, like scared to death.
You know, you get married, it's like, oh my God. So going to college, when I went to college, the college I went to was twice the population of my hometown, just the student population. It's very intimidating. I didn't know a single person.
Yeah.
And it turned out great. So it's like everything great. It's not obvious to people that everything great is based on risk and overcoming fear.
Yeah.
So that's my disconnect on all this is just make a bunch of calls and have fun doing it.
Yes.
Like it's not that big of a deal to call people and meet them.
Yep. And just like you said, have some fun. So hopefully this helped everybody. It's something that we work really hard at in Summit and still have more work to do, obviously, in developing people and helping them lean in to making the calls so that they can ultimately help and serve more people at a higher level.
100%. Loan officers, if you're out there, I'll give you a plug for Summit. We do these to give back, but I always want to plug Summit a little bit. So we started a whole division that's non-QM. Non-QM is one of two markets in mortgage that's growing. They're very niche programs. They really allow you to target market. They really allow you to help a lot of agents. I got one client yesterday. I didn't even tell you this, Robyn. He found a group of investors that buy 2,000 homes a year, and they want him to be their preferred lender on DSCR loans. I swear to God, this just happened. Oh, by the way, new loan officer.
Yeah, brand new loan officer.
In the business 2 months, 3 months.
Just out looking for opportunities.
Dude, you're going to make a mint on this. He's like, I know, boss, but he just, anyway. So if the disconnect with A-paper lenders, and Summit for 28 years has been an A-paper lender, we added all this non-QM stuff and hired all the special talent that's some of the best in the country. I'm telling you, it's part of the pivot that people need to make. So if you want to talk about those things, we also have a wholesale division that does that for brokers. It's called Lead Plus Wholesale. It's a division of Summit Funding. So if you're looking for great non-QM, either in retail or in wholesale, reach out to us so we can get you some information. You'll love it. It's great, great, great. And they're not price sensitive.
Yeah.
They don't beat you up and have you do a loan for a half a point.
Yeah.
So
it's more of an investment strategy.
Have a great month, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Robyn. You're awesome.
Yeah. Ditto.
Bye, guys.